Most people wake up each morning and accept whatever comes their way. They become comfortable with mediocrity. They settle for less than they're capable of achieving. But here's what I want you to understand. Settling is a choice. Mediocrity is a decision. And excellence, well, excellence is also a choice that's available to you right now in this very moment. The difference between those who achieve extraordinary results and those who live ordinary lives isn't talent. It isn't luck. And it certainly isn't circumstances. The difference is standards. Successful people have simply decided that they will not accept anything less than excellence from themselves. They've raised the bar on what they consider acceptable behavior, acceptable results, and acceptable outcomes. Now, let me tell you about a conversation I had many years ago that changed my entire perspective on this subject. I was speaking with a wealthy businessman, and I asked him what he believed was the secret to his success. His answer surprised me. He said, "Jim, I simply refuse to accept the same level of results that most people accept. While others were satisfied with getting by, I demanded more for myself. While others made excuses, I made progress. While others lowered their standards to match their results, I raised my standards and then worked to match them." That conversation planted a seed in my mind that has grown into one of my core philosophies. Your standards are like a thermostat in your home. They regulate the temperature of your life. If you set your thermostat at 68 degrees, your heating and cooling system will work to maintain that temperature. If you set it at 75 degrees, the system adjusts accordingly. The same principle applies to your personal standards. Whatever level you set them at, your internal system will work to maintain that level. But here's the challenge most people face. They've set their standards so low that they're living in a perpetual state of disappointment without even realizing it. They've become accustomed to broken promises to themselves. They've accepted being late, being unprepared, being uncommitted. They've lowered their standards so gradually over time that they don't even remember what it feels like to demand excellence from themselves. The tragedy is not that people aim too high and miss, but that they aim too low and hit. They've convinced themselves that average is acceptable, that good enough is actually good enough. But I'm here to tell you that you were not designed for average. You were not created to blend in with the crowd. You have within you the capacity for greatness, but that greatness will never emerge until you raise your standards to match your potential. Let me share with you what happens when you begin to raise your standards. First, you'll experience some discomfort. This is natural and expected. You see, when you raise your standards, you create a gap between where you are and where you've decided you need to be. This gap creates what I call creative tension. It's the tension between your current reality and your new standard. This tension is not something to avoid, it's something to embrace. It's the engine that will drive your improvement. When you raise your standards for punctuality, you'll start feeling uncomfortable when you're running late. When you raise your standards for fitness, you'll feel uncomfortable when you skip your workout. When you raise your standards for learning, you'll feel uncomfortable when you go a day without growing. This discomfort is not a signal that you should lower your standards. It's a signal that you're moving in the right direction. The second thing that happens when you raise your standards is that you begin to attract different opportunities and different people into your life. Here's why. The universe responds to who you're being, not just what you're wanting. When you consistently demonstrate higher standards through your actions, you send a clear message about the level at which you operate. People notice, opportunities notice, success notices. Think about the people you most admire and respect. What is it about them that draws your attention? I guarantee you it's not their willingness to accept mediocrity. It's their commitment to excellence. It's their unwillingness to compromise on what matters most. It's their standards. And those same people are attracted to others who share their commitment to high standards. Now, let me be very clear about something. Raising your standards is not about perfection. It's about progress. It's not about never making mistakes. It's about learning from your mistakes faster and more effectively. It's not about comparing yourself to others. It's about competing with the person you were yesterday. The person who raises their standards understands that excellence is not an event, it's a habit. It's not something you do once in a while when you feel motivated. It's something you do consistently, especially when you don't feel motivated. Excellence becomes your standard operating procedure, your default mode, your natural way of being. But here's what's fascinating about human nature. We all have different standards for different areas of our lives. You might have very high standards for your appearance, but low standards for your finances. You might have high standards for your work, but low standards for your relationships. You might have high standards for your health, but low standards for your personal development. The key to transforming your life is to raise your standards across all areas simultaneously. You cannot compartmentalize excellence. You cannot be excellent in one area while accepting mediocrity in others and expect to achieve your full potential. Success is not partial, it's holistic. It requires a comprehensive commitment to raising your standards in every area that matters. Let me give you some practical ways to begin raising your standards immediately. First, start with your morning routine. How you begin your day sets the tone for everything that follows. If you start your day by hitting the snooze button, checking your phone, and rushing through your morning, you're setting a standard of reactivity and chaos. But if you start your day with intention, purpose, and deliberate actions, you're setting a standard of proactivity and control. Raise your standards for how you prepare for each day. Instead of stumbling out of bed and hoping for the best, create a morning routine that energizes you, focuses you, and prepares you for excellence. This might include exercise, meditation, reading, planning your day, or simply taking time to appreciate what you have. The specific activities matter less than the intention behind them. Next, raise your standards for how you treat your body. Your body is the vehicle that carries you through life. If you wouldn't put cheap fuel in an expensive car, why would you put cheap food in your irreplaceable body? Raise your standards for nutrition, exercise, sleep, and stress management. Treat your body like the temple it is, not like a garbage disposal. Raise your standards for continuous learning and growth. In today's rapidly changing world, what got you here will not get you there. The skills that brought you to your current level of success will not be sufficient to take you to the next level. Make learning a non-negotiable part of your daily routine. Set a standard of reading for at least 30 minutes each day, listening to educational podcasts during your commute, attending seminars, taking courses, and seeking mentorship. Raise your standards for the people you allow into your inner circle. You become like the people you spend the most time with. If you're surrounded by people who complain, make excuses, and accept mediocrity, you'll find yourself gravitating toward those same behaviors. But if you surround yourself with people who challenge you, inspire you, and hold you accountable to your highest standards, you'll rise to meet their level. This doesn't mean you should abandon old friends or become elitist. It means you should be intentional about who you allow to influence your thinking, your attitude, and your standards. Seek out people who are already living at the level you aspire to reach. Learn from them. Model their behaviors. Let their standards become your standards. Become your standards. Raise your standards for how you manage your time. Time is the most precious resource you have because it's the only resource you cannot get more of. How you spend your time reveals your true priorities, regardless of what you say your priorities are. If you say family is important, but you consistently work late and miss family dinners, your standards for time management are misaligned with your stated values. Start treating your time like the valuable commodity it is. Plan your days in advance. Schedule your priorities before anything else. Learn to say no to good opportunities so you can say yes to great ones. Eliminate time-wasting activities that don't contribute to your goals or your happiness. Remember, busy is not the same as productive, and productive is not the same as effective. Raise your standards for your financial life. Money is not everything, but money is something. It's a tool that can provide security, opportunity, and the ability to contribute to causes you care about. Having higher financial standards doesn't mean being greedy or materialistic. It means being responsible, intentional, and strategic about your financial decisions. Set standards for saving a percentage of your income regardless of how much you earn. Set standards for educating yourself about investing, budgeting, and wealth building. Set standards for avoiding debt except for appreciating assets. Set standards for giving and contributing to others. Your relationship with money reflects your standards for yourself and your future. Raise your standards for your communication. How you speak to others and about others reveals your character. Make a commitment to speak with kindness, honesty, and integrity. Eliminate gossip, complaining, and negative speech from your vocabulary. Instead of focusing on what's wrong, train yourself to focus on what's possible. Instead of tearing others down, build them up. Instead of spreading negativity, spread encouragement and hope. This includes how you speak to yourself. The conversation you have with yourself is the most important conversation you'll ever have because you're always listening. Raise your standards for self-talk. Replace self-criticism with self-compassion. Replace doubt with confidence. Replace fear with faith. The way you speak to yourself becomes the way you think about yourself, and the way you think about yourself determines the actions you take. Raise your standards for your environment. Your physical environment has a profound impact on your mental and emotional state. If your home is cluttered and disorganized, your mind will tend to be cluttered and disorganized. If your workspace is chaotic, your productivity will suffer. If you're surrounded by reminders of past failures, you'll find it difficult to focus on future success. Create an environment that supports your highest aspirations. Organize your space. Eliminate clutter. Surround yourself with things that inspire you and remind you of your goals. Whether it's books, pictures, quotes, or artwork, make sure your environment is sending you the right messages about who you're becoming. Now let me address one of the biggest challenges people face when trying to raise their standards, the resistance from others. When you decide to live at a higher level, some people in your life may not understand or support your decision. They may criticize your new standards as unrealistic or unnecessary. They may try to pull you back down to their level because your growth makes them uncomfortable with their own lack of growth. This is a test of your commitment. Are you willing to maintain your new standards even when others don't understand them? Are you willing to be different if being different means being better? Are you willing to be misunderstood temporarily in order to achieve something meaningful permanently? Remember, people will always have opinions about your life, but they don't have to live with the consequences of your choices. You do. So make choices based on your standards, not their opinions. Live your life according to your values, not their expectations. Create your own definition of success rather than accepting theirs. The beautiful thing about raising your standards is that it creates a positive ripple effect in every area of your life. When you raise your standards in one area, it becomes easier to raise them in other areas. Excellence becomes a habit that spreads throughout your entire existence. You begin to expect more from yourself, and as a result, you achieve more than you ever thought possible. But raising your standards is not a one-time event. It's an ongoing process. As you grow and evolve, your capacity increases, and your standards should increase accordingly. What challenged you a year ago should feel comfortable today. What seemed impossible last year should feel achievable this year. This is not because the circumstances have changed, but because you have changed. The person who commits to raising their standards every day understands that growth is not optional, it's essential. They understand that standing still is actually moving backward because the world around them is constantly advancing. They understand that their potential is not fixed but expandable, and the only way to expand it is to consistently demand more from themselves. Here's what I want you to understand about the compound effect of raising your standards. Small improvements in your standards, compounded over time, create extraordinary results. If you raise your standards by just 1% each day, by the end of 1 year, you'll be 37 times better than when you started. This is the power of incremental improvement applied consistently over time. Most people overestimate what they can accomplish in a day and underestimate what they can accomplish in a year. They want immediate results from their improved standards. And when those results don't come quickly enough, they abandon their commitment to excellence and return to their old ways of being. But the person who truly understands the power of raised standards knows that the magic happens in the consistency, not in the intensity. Every day you have the opportunity to raise your standards a little bit higher. Every day you have the chance to demand more from yourself than you did the day before. Every day you can choose to be better, do better, and expect better. This is not a burden, it's a privilege. It's the privilege of continuous improvement, ongoing growth, and unlimited potential. As we near the end of our time together, I want to leave you with this thought. Your life will never exceed the standards you set for yourself. If you set low standards, you'll achieve low results. If you set high standards, you'll achieve high results. If you set no standards, you'll achieve no meaningful results at all. But here's the exciting part. You get to choose your standards. You get to decide what level of excellence you'll accept from yourself. You get to determine what kind of life you'll live, what kind of person you'll become, and what kind of legacy you'll leave behind. The decision to raise your standards is not about perfection, it's about progress. It's not about being better than everyone else, it's about being better than you used to be. It's not about achieving some external measure of success, it's about living up to your own potential and becoming the person you're capable of becoming. So I challenge you today to make a decision. Decide that you will no longer accept mediocrity from yourself. Decide that you will no longer settle for less than you're capable of achieving. Decide that you will raise your standards in every area of your life and then work every day to live up to those standards. Remember, the world is waiting for what you have to offer, but it's waiting for the best version of what you have to offer. That best version will only emerge when you raise your standards to match your potential. The time for settling is over. The time for excuses has passed. The time for raising your standards is now. Your future self is counting on the decisions you make today. Your family is counting on the standards you set today. Your dreams are counting on the commitments you make today. Don't let them down. Raise your standards and then live up to them every single day. The choice is yours. The power is within you. The time is now. Raise your standards every day and watch as your life transforms in ways you never thought possible. This is not just a suggestion, it's a recipe for a life of meaning, purpose, and extraordinary achievement. The question is not whether you can do it, but whether you will do it. I believe you will because I believe in the power that lies within you to the life that you truly desire.